Hello everyone, TJV here, and today I'm going to be talking about the Ohmwrecker and Delirious court case. Yet again, yes, I know this is another video, but we got a document pretty much from the judge saying if Delirious has to answer these questions or not. We are going to get into that, but if you haven't seen my previous videos might give you a little bit more insight on what is going on, so you're not so confused watching this. But I am going to try to lay it out so you guys understand on what's going on, and obviously I'll try to share my own opinion on this. My own opinion, which I believe is very neutral. I'm not picking sides. I have nothing to gain from picking any side in the first place anyways. This is me just neutrally talking about a couple YouTubers that I watched when I was really young, like a lot of you guys, which you guys may have watched the Vanos crew when you were younger, and you just kind of want to know what is going on in this court case between Ohmwrecker and Delirious. I just want to know the same thing, but I'm able to sit here and read and try to get you guys to understand what's going on in these court documents, so you don't have to read all the huge paragraphs and all the legal jargon, and I can just translate it to you the best way I possibly can.
I'll do it. Excuse me? It's okay.
So getting into the document, pretty much Ohmwrecker and his attorneys motion to have the judge force Delirious to answer certain questions being number 5, 7, 32, 33, and 31. These questions, Delirious and his attorneys have refused to either admit that Delirious did certain things or denied that Delirious did certain things. Why didn't they admit or deny it? There's a few different reasons why, but one of the main reasons, and most of the questions is based on relevancy. Delirious and his attorneys are trying to argue that a lot of these questions are not based on anything that's relevant. It ain't relevant to this case at all. And they even try to argue, since Delirious dropped his countersuit against Ohm, that these questions are even more unrelevant, which I guess the only reason why Delirious dropped his case is so he doesn't have to answer questions. Delirious and his attorneys argue in one of the documents that it's based on financial strategy and the financial toll that Delirious was taken, but I seriously doubt that, because I truly do believe that Delirious has a lot more money than Ohmwrecker does, and I doubt Delirious is truly struggling on money. Again, I could be wrong on that, but I don't think Delirious is struggling with money, and that's why he dropped his countersuit. It seems like Delirious dropped his countersuit because he doesn't want to admit or deny some of these questions. But regardless, that's why we've been getting a lot of documents, because Ohmwrecker and his attorneys have been putting out a lot of information to try to prove that they are relevant questions and that Delirious has to answer these questions. And with this, the judge sits here and says that he's going to grant it in part and deny it in part, with questions 5, 32, and 33 allowing to be answered, or not allowing, but forcing Delirious to have to answer question 5, 32, and 33, with question number 7 and 31 being denied, meaning Delirious doesn't have to answer 7 or 31. So let's go look at these questions and figure out, what does Delirious have to admit and deny, and what doesn't he have to admit or deny? First, I'll start off with question number 5 and work my way up. Admit that you created or at some point controlled the Twitter account Ryan8399330784. Now, I don't know a lot about this account. What I believed it to be is another alt account of Delirious's that were probably used against Ohmwrecker in some sort of way. Maybe Delirious used this account to dox Ohm, or he used it to harass Ohm, or multiple different things. But this is one that Delirious has refused to admit or deny, which is weird because Ohmwrecker and his attorneys have asked Delirious other questions about other alt accounts, and Delirious has had no problem admit or denying those, but this Ryan83 account, he doesn't want to admit or deny. So now he has to admit if he's this Ryan83 account or not, and hopefully we get to see that response in a document that is posted publicly. Next is question number 7, admit that you created or at some point controlled the Twitter account Harpy Ray. This is the Ray Harpy account, the account that threatened a baby, and the judge is saying you don't have to admit or deny this question. As to why, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna have to look into that later, but one of the things might be based on if Delirious can remember or not. There are some of the answers being that the defendant doesn't remember or doesn't have enough knowledge to know if he did do that, so he can admit or deny it, simply based off he can't remember. So I guess the judge can't force Delirious to remember if he controlled or created this account at any given point. So maybe that's the reason why, but again, it doesn't make sense on the other questions, because Delirious could just say he doesn't remember any of this at all. But again, that's a whole nother can of worms to get into and a whole different theory. But yeah, so that, Harpy Ray, he doesn't have to admit or deny that account. Moving on to the next one, I think it's question number 31. This one, Delirious also does not have to admit or deny this one. Admit that in May of 2021, you received the email below, which is perpetrated to be from blank, from the email account blank09@hotmail.com. This, I believe, is the alleged victim's email account, and it's pretty much asking, did you receive this email from this screenshot? screenshot right here. So Delirious doesn't have to admit if he ever got this email or if he ever seen this email. But in number 32 and 33, which is very interesting, the judge forces Delirious to answer these questions. Admit that you created or at some point controlled the email account blank08@gmail.com, which is interesting because that 08 and that 09, I believe the 08 account is a spoof account of the 09 account. The 09 account is to be believed to be the alleged victim's email account at hotmail.com, while the 08@gmail.com is to be believed that Delirious made a spoof account of the alleged victim's email account to then message Ohmwrecker and pretend to be an alleged victim for whatever reason. That is one of the things that has been alleged against Delirious out there, is that he did create this spoof account to pretend to be an alleged victim, to look similar to one of the actual alleged victims' emails, and message Ohmwrecker and pretend and make up a story or whatever. And that is what the questions are for 32 and 33. So he is going to have to answer that, which, by the way, if he has to answer, admit, or deny this, and let's say he admits question number 32 and 33, that he did have this email account that was very similar to the alleged victim's email account, with messaging Ohmwrecker with a fake story that is shown right here. If Delirious admits this, doesn't it kinda admit 31 that he knew of the email account and he knew of the victim coming after him, claiming stop pretending like you're a victim, you are not the victim? I don't know, it's like oddly connected, like 31 is connected to 32 and 33 kinda, and I don't know why the judge is saying you don't have to answer 31, but you have to answer 32 and 33. Again, I don't have a lot of reasons, there's not a lot of explanation in the document. It's just saying 5, 32, 33, you have to answer those, but 7 and 31, you don't have to answer those. So yeah, that is what is going on. You can give some theories down below as to why. I showed the questions here. To me, this seems like a big W for Ohmwrecker, even though 2 of the questions Delirious doesn't have to admit. They still got him to answer 3 out of the 5 that were presented, and that is majority. And even if they got him to still have to answer one of them, that is still one more question that they are able to have Delirious admit or deny that they wouldn't have had before if they never filed for this motion. So to get 3 questions that Delirious has to answer and probably will have bigger implications as this court case continues, I think that is a W by Ohmwrecker's attorney, and it seems like my meme video that I put out the last couple days seems to be coming true. It seems like Ohmwrecker's attorney kind of has an edge over Delirious's attorney, but again, we gotta look at this entire case and see how it pans out, because technically it could go either way. Delirious and his attorneys could prevail, or Ohmwrecker and his attorneys will continue to prevail. Let me know what you guys think about this entire case down below. Let me know how your guys' Christmas and New Year's went, and I will see you guys all next time. Peace.